How does rideshare driving impact our brain? Our memory, our mind. When I turned 40, I started to notice that words didn't quite come so fast. And for the largest group of drivers, which is drivers over 60, memory becomes really important. So what I've done is I've done some research to find out what's the impact of this rideshare driving, looking at the screen, playing the game, the gamification of rideshare driving using the Uber and the Lyft apps. What's the impact on our mind? Is it good for us or is it not good for us? Turns out it's a little of both. And I'm going to present that information to you, and stick around because at the end I'm going to share with you a few remedies, a few things you can do to make the experience pretty positive and pretty good for our mind and our brain so that we can keep thinking. As the son of a mother who has Alzheimer's, I can tell you that the last thing you want to lose is your mind. And we want to do everything we can to keep our memory intact. So I'm going to cover all that and more coming up. Hey, everybody. It is Jay Crater with the RideShare Guy. Drinking a little Starbucks Nespresso. Yes, Starbucks makes Nespresso pods. And that is very tasty. It is 8:20 on a beautiful Wednesday, and let's get into this. So I'm sure you've noticed if you've done any driving that Uber and Lyft really make driving like a game, right? You get a tip. You get a big green thing that says, wow, you got a tip, and wow, you got this much to go to get your next bonus. And, here's how much you've made today. And ding, 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 you can take your money out right away, right now. All of this designed to make us want to do it more and more, right? How does that impact us? How does that impact our mind and our memory and our brain? So first thing I'm going to do is present some of the positives that I found during my research, and then I'll present a few of the negatives, and then we'll cover some things you can do to kind of find that nice place in the middle where it's mostly good for us. So let's get into it. Okay, number one is cognitive skills. So rideshare driving and looking at the screen and tapping on the screen is good for our brains. You've often heard that playing mental games like Sudoku and Wordle and things like that is good because it challenges our mind, right? It constantly forces us to think about things we wouldn't normally think about, to get our mind to make new synapse connections. And that is a huge benefit of driving, because not only are we having to drive, but we're also having to, switch focus from driving to the app to the passenger. So our minds are constantly working, and that is a very positive thing for our brain. Next is motor skills. So motor skills is, our ability to, drive and physically what we're doing. So, driving, of course, keeps our motor skills. One of the first things people lose when they lose their memory or they get diagnosed with Alzheimer's is they lose their driver's license, because driving requires a lot of motor skills. So the more we can drive and tap things and turn and talk and see where we're going, our movement through space, these are all great things that benefit our mind and keep our mind working at optimal capacity. The next thing is a benefit is social interaction. So when people start losing their memory or they get diagnosed with Alzheimer's, one of the things they do is they start to close in, and they don't want to go out because they feel very self-conscious of their memory and their inability to kind of keep up with conversations. So social interaction, interacting with other people, having dialogue is all very, very beneficial to our minds, our memory, and our brain. So that's one benefit we rideshare drivers have over food delivery drivers, because they don't really interact with people much, right? Whereas our product is people, not food. So we're constantly, engaging with other people. So in my career, I've engaged with over 29,500 people. So that's good. That's going to keep my little mind, my little ticker going. So number two is, what are some of the negative effects? Well, the first negative effect is excessive driving, right? So have you noticed that if you drive a lot, your body kind of gets achy, right? And you're spending a lot of time sitting. So that is not good for the mind, the memory, the brain. We want to keep it active, keep blood flow going to it. So that's one drawback, is this is a constant sitting. Have you ever noticed if you go to the health club and you work out, after you're done, your mind feels awake again, right? It's alert. Next is addiction. So I've experienced this myself, that the app makes things so exciting, right? That you want to keep driving. And that addiction, that dependency on the results is not good for our brains. So, I experience it still, to this day. I constantly am looking at my app, seeing what the bonuses are, getting things ready for the weekend. A lot of times I'll look and see what they're offering through the week where I'm not going to be driving, and I'm often tempted. There's a dopamine hit, when you see a bonus and you think about, ooh, or you hear a ping, or all of these things are designed to motivate us to keep driving. And that can lead to an addiction, which is not. Being dependent on something else for your gratification is not good for our minds. And the last big drawback is sleep disturbances. So I've said on many of my videos that sleep is the most important physical thing we can do for ourselves, that we need that 8 hours to let our body regenerate, to get rid of stuff we don't need, to refresh, to rejuvenate. And I have found, especially when I was doing this full time, that I'd be pretty hyped up. I'd be going for a bonus. And when I got home, I was kind of buzzing. And I found it hard to just, fall asleep. And even when I would sleep, there'd be like dreams and all kinds of things going on. And I had to train myself to relax when I came back. So sleep disturbance is not good for our brains. Our brains need 8 hours of sleep, and they need it consistently. They need it at the same time of the day. And overdriving can lead to sleep disturbances, which is no bueno. So what are some things you can do to counteract some of those negatives? Well, the first one is to maintain balance. I've only recently been able to achieve this because I only drive on the weekends now. So I drove full time for 4 years. Then we had the pandemic. And then recently, since I've come back over the last year, I'm just driving on the weekends. So that kind of forces me to have some balance between driving and other aspects of my life. But without balance, we tend to, just do too much of the driving, and it's just difficult not to experience some of the drawbacks of driving, the things that negatively impact our brain. Balance is a hard thing to achieve, I have found in my life, because I have kind of an obsessive personality. The next thing you can do is meditate. So I'm a big fan of the Sam Harris meditation program. You can check it out. Just Google Sam Harris Waking Up, I believe it's called, the Waking Up app. And what I do is 10 minutes a day when I'm sitting in the sauna, I'm listening to the daily Sam Harris meditation. And just spending 10 minutes a day, as simple as that sounds, is not easy. Just spending 10 minutes of quiet time where I'm able to reflect on what's going on in my mind, how my mind works, really makes a huge impact in chilling me out, cooling me down, and again, moving into a more of a balanced vibe throughout the rest of my day. And the last thing is putting some time into single focus activities. So we've all heard the term multitasking, which means you're doing many things at once. There's a huge benefit to our minds to focusing on one thing, such as reading, or in my case, writing an article. I'm just totally focused on what I'm writing, or taking a walk in nature. Unplug, okay? The key is to unplug. And that will help the brain to stay in a good place, keep your mind and your memory sharp. Okay, so what are some of the key takeaways? Well, I thought I would share with you something from my childhood. This made a big impact on me. This is an ad that ran, and it said, "This is your brain, this is drugs, this is your brain on drugs." and there was the egg just sizzling in the butter. And that scared me a lot about drugs. But now in the year 2023, it's not so much drugs, it's just this overwhelming ocean wave of information that we're constantly exposed to if we allow it. And it's really important that we curate the quantity and the quality of information that's coming at us. Because if we're not careful, it is overwhelming and it's not good for us. And frankly, using the Uber and the Lyft app, if we're doing it too much, it's not good for us. But in balance, it's actually very useful. And because it is a game, and because we're using our hands, and because we're talking with others, it's really great for my mind. So when I think about stopping driving, I'm now thinking, well, maybe I should just keep doing a little bit when I can, because it keeps my mind sharp. It keeps me engaged. So that's really the key takeaway. If I can find the balance, it's still it's great. It's actually great. It's much better than just doing Sudoku or Wordle or any of those games, the crossword puzzle in the New York Times. So that's the key takeaway. It's actually good for us to be drivers, and it keeps us sharp. So I found this process of going through all of this very enlightening and actually very, very encouraging. So I'm happy to say that I'm driving on the weekends and I'm constantly engaging my mind. So yay. All right, if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. That would be great. If you haven't subscribed yet to our YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe. We bring you a video every single day designed to teach you how to make more money in less time, how to be healthy, how to find balance in your life. Great stuff all around. Go out and tell somebody you love them. It will make their day. Thanks so much for watching. This is Jay Crater with the RideShare Guy saying be safe out there. See you next time.